Story 1. Petty Revenge. Noisy housemates get their comeuppance. A few years ago, when I was in the final year of my degree, I was sharing a house with two other females. I was studying chemistry and they were both English majors. The way the exam scheduling went in this university, all science faculty exams were really early and arts faculty exams were towards the end of the exam period. Now, for weeks in the run-up to the start of my exams, while I was trying to study, they were out partying most nights. Coming home at all hours, making noise really late into the night, bringing the party back home with them, including bringing people back. Music, loud talking, shouting until 2 or 3 a.m. I asked them time and again to keep it down. To appreciate the fact that my exams started weeks before theirs and I had to prepare. And they'd say, "Yeah, sure, sorry, but then go and do it all again." I was honestly at my wit's end. So eventually, I make it through my exams, and by the time mine are all over, they have about a week to go to the start of theirs. And it is panic stations. Pretty much overnight they realize how much work they have to do and are in major crisis mode to get it done. So the first day after I'm finished, while they're hitting the books in the living room, I decide to go into town shopping. I tell them where I'll be and off I go. What I didn't tell them was that I set an alarm on the stereo in my room to turn on about 15 minutes after left, turned the volume up as loud as it would go, locked my room door and headed out smugly. For the whole day. I came back about 10 p.m. and to say that they were furious was an understatement. I apologized profusely, said it must have been an alarm that I'd forgotten and unfortunately my phone had run out of battery. Ah. The next day I did the same thing. Except this time I went out with friends. Came back at about 1 a.m. and brought them all back with me. Again fury and shouting and yelling. How selfish I was, how could I have so little respect for the fact that they had to study yada yada. It was so satisfying when I got to see the looks on their faces when I said, "Well, you did exactly this to me, so now it's your turn. Wait and see what I have planned for the next few days." I did feel a bit bad, but man, was it so worth it. After that they stopped studying at home and I had the house to myself to prep for my practicals. Fun. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, just take a second now and click that subscribe button. It does help support me a lot, and I really appreciate it. This story is a classic example of tit for tat, where someone responds to disruptive behavior with a taste of their own medicine. Let's react to it. It's clear that OP were pushed to her limit by OP's noisy housemates during her final year exams. Repeatedly asking for consideration and quiet hours fell on deaf ears, and it's entirely understandable that OP reached a breaking point. Leaving them to deal with the noise was indeed a form of revenge. While it may have felt satisfying in the moment, it's also evident that it provoked anger and frustration on their end, and OP did feel a bit bad afterward. It's important to communicate and show empathy in shared living spaces. It's always better to address issues and conflicts directly and constructively, rather than resorting to tactics that can escalate tensions. However, it's also a reminder that sometimes, a taste of one's own medicine can lead to a change in behavior. In the end, it appears that OP housemates learned a valuable lesson about the importance of respecting each other's need for quiet and steady time. Hopefully, this experience led to a more harmonious living situation in the future, where everyone could coexist peacefully. Story 2. My 33F fiancé 31M cheated 2 years ago. This literally just happened, so please excuse any rambling. My 33F fiancé 31M and I have been together for almost 6 years. We moved in together after a year of dating on our own, and then when I got pregnant in 2021 we moved in with my parents to save up for our place and get help with my son. 5 months after having my son, I got pregnant again, so we now have 2 sons together, 5 months and 15 months. Things have been great. Obviously we have disagreements here and there, but he's very involved. We live in my family house and my siblings have moved out already, so there's plenty of room. About 3 months before I got pregnant with my first son, I miscarried very early on at 5 weeks. The day after, his grandmother passed away. She basically raised him, and we had been trying for a baby, so needless to say this was a hard time for him. So when he was invited to a bachelor party around the same time in Mexico, I actually encouraged him to go. I knew I couldn't travel, and I knew he could definitely use a vacation. He came back, and like I said, things were all good. Fast forward to today, I'm home with the kids, and he calls me on his lunch break like he does every day we talk, and after a while I need to feed one of the kids, so we say our usual "I love you, talk to you later." Basically, I had my headphones on, so I didn't hang up, and neither did he, and he immediately starts talking to his coworker, saying something along the lines of, "Oh, there's a lot of girls outside today." He works at a construction site. And just because he can't do anything doesn't mean he can't look, and then goes into this story about how, but when I went to Mexico for a bachelor party a few years back, we had some girls staying next door to our Airbnb, they were down to party, and that long. Story short, he went back to get his cigarettes with one of the girls, she came on to him and they hooked up. Right after he said it, he realized I was still on the phone and hung up. I called back and told him I heard it all. He obviously is trying to contact me, but I don't even know where to go from here. Like I said, things have been great. What the actual fuck, I'm still in shock. Do I walk away? When I said I heard it all, he said I was just talking shit, babe. TLDR, my 33F fiancé, 31M, cheated on me 2 years ago while on a bachelor party in Cancun. I've guys take a second now and click the notification bell. I'm truly sorry to hear about the difficult situation OP is going through. Discovering that her fiancé cheated on OP is undoubtedly a painful and shocking experience. It's important to take some time to process emotions and make a decision that's right for her and her children. Here are some steps to consider. Take time to process your feelings. It's completely normal to feel a range of emotions, including anger, betrayal, hurt, and confusion. Take the time you need to process these emotions before making any decisions. Communication. Once you're ready, consider having an open and honest conversation with your fiancé. Ask him for an explanation and try to understand his perspective. However, be prepared for him to make excuses or try to minimize what happened. Seek support. Reach out to friends and family members you trust for emotional support during this difficult time. You don't have to go through this alone. Consider counseling. If you're open to it, couples counseling or individual therapy can be beneficial. It can help you both explore the reasons behind the infidelity and decide if the relationship can be rebuilt. Evaluate your relationship. Think about the overall health of your relationship. Consider the positive aspects as well as the negative ones. Assess whether you believe trust can be rebuilt and if both of you are willing to put in the effort to work through this. Decide on your future. Ultimately, the decision to stay in the relationship or walk away is a deeply personal one. Consider what's best for you and your children's well-being. Keep in mind the long-term consequences and whether you can forgive and rebuild trust. Legal and financial implications. If you're engaged and have children together, there may be legal and financial matters to address, such as custody arrangements and the status of the engagement. It may be wise to consult with an attorney for guidance. Remember that healing from infidelity can be a long and challenging process, and there is no one-size-fits-all answer to whether you should stay or leave. It's crucial to prioritize your own well-being and the well-being of your children as you make your decision. Ultimately, only you can determine the best course of action based on your individual circumstances and feelings. Now to the comments, anything but olives. The fact that he's so nonchalantly talking about cheating on you means that he's not only shared this with others, but he actually didn't care at all that he's screwed around on you. Take that into consideration as you think about this. He was gloating. Story 3. AITA for telling my husband I don't care what the doctor says. I 38F have been married to my husband 41M for 10 years. We have been together for 12. He told me today when he got home from work at 8 p.m. that he passed out at work. He told me the medics were called and now he has to go to the doctor to get blood work done. He did not call me and asked his co-workers not to call me because he didn't want me to worry. It really hurt my feelings. This comes after an accident that happened just after we started dating. He was involved in a serious explosion that caused first and second-degree burns on the right side of his face and arm. He didn't call me until he was getting discharged from the hospital as I was not listed as an emergency contact yet. I explained to him after that accident that I would have liked to been there for support, to talk to doctors, to ask questions, to learn aftercare and anything else that was important information. Well, after he told me about today's incident, he began asking what I think it could have been, what it could be, what the doctor might say, and so on. I told him if you didn't take care enough to let me know something was wrong when it was wrong, I don't care enough to care now. Am I the asshole? Edit to add, after reading comments I must add he called his best friend while being assessed by medics. His co-workers wanted to call me but he said no. Guys, support my channel by liking this video. OP's husband passed out at work and didn't immediately inform you or want his co-workers to call you because he didn't want you to worry. He later shared the incident with you and sought your input on what might have caused it. OP was hurt by his decision not to inform OP immediately, which may have stemmed from a previous incident where you felt left out of the loop regarding his medical situation. OP responded by telling him that if he didn't care enough to let OP know something was wrong when it was wrong, OP don't care enough to care now. In this context, OP expressed she's hurt and frustrated with her husband's decision not to inform OP about the incident promptly. However, it's essential to recognize that your husband's intention may have been to protect you from worry, as he did with the previous incident. The verdict here is complex. On one hand, it's understandable that OP would want to be informed about her husband's health concerns promptly, given her history and the importance of being involved in his medical care. On the other hand, OP's response may have come across as dismissive of his current situation and health concerns. Well, OP's not necessarily the whole for feeling hurt and expressing her feelings, but the way she communicated her feelings might have been hurtful to him during a time when he might already be anxious about his health. Now to the comments, Ars. YTA for making it about you and your ego instead of about his health. Subscribe for daily Reddit stories.